Right, we're starting off. We're actually going to start off with False Knight and not Grasmother. Because this guy is a fraud. False Knight is a fraud. Because, like, does anyone not do False Knight first try? Does anyone do False Knight and not take damage? I'm pretty sure I did him on Radiance first try. And then when I did the next boss on Radiance, I didn't realize I died in one hit. Because this guy, you just do him without taking damage. So he was not a good boss to do first to work out how strong the different difficulties were. Because he's too easy. No excuses. I know he's the first boss in the game. He's an absolute fraud. Right, moving on to Grasmother is also fraudulent. I mean, when you do the arena or the Pantheon, you fight two of them at the same time. If it's a boss where you have to fight two of them at the same time, you know it's a fraud. Because how is this boss so easy that you have to fight two of them? I mean, you only fight one of them at the start of the game, but okay, we're not actually doing it in order. We're just doing it in the order I want to do it. Vengefly King. Again, it's fraud. It's such an easy boss to do no hit. You have to fight two of them later on. You fight them in the arena. You fight them in the Pantheons. Too easy. Just shouldn't even be a boss. This should just be like a difficult enemy, mini boss. No, not even a mini boss, because this guy's some of the regular enemies in the game are easier than these bosses. Maybe the bottom tier should be enemies that bosses that should just be regular enemies. They should random enemies should get promoted for being harder. Right. Some of these bosses I don't even remember the fights. My general rule of thumb is if I don't remember the fight, it must have been so easy. Because if you're so easy that I don't even remember doing the boss fight, that's got to be fraudulent behavior. Like you're such an easy boss that I don't even remember you. I do, however, remember the Brooding Morlek, and it's okay. Here's the thing: 80% of the bosses in the game I did first try, but then that means like 80% of the bosses are going to go in fraud because I did them first try, and that was my reason to go into it. Brooding Morlek is more difficult than all three of these bosses, so I'm going to put them on the left. I think that's what I'll do. I think on the left will be the more difficult bosses, and on the right will be the easier bosses. And then at the end, we might shift some up, move some down. I am just a gamer, yeah, that is what's said about me. Massive Moss Charger. In the Pantheon, and possibly in the actual boss fight, you can just stand still. If you have Quick Slash, you can stand still and beat this guy by standing still and just hitting. You can just slash, 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 stand still, he dies. Not as easy as the False Knight, because sometimes he does hit you, sometimes he does break through, or he'll jump up at you, but you just stand still when you hit him. So, right, Hornet Protector is also a fraud. I'm trying to work out how fraudulent it is. I'm gonna put it here. Again, another boss first try. I am pretty sure I did her without taking any damage as well. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I do a boss fight first try and take no damage, that is it's just a fraud. Like, how can you be a boss that I'm doing first try and not even being hit? I don't even know what your attacks are, and I'm still dodging them all. You're a fraud. You shouldn't be a boss. Right, who's next? Umu is also a fraud because it's very easy. Except I'm gonna put it here because I do remember getting hit a little bit by one of its attacks. So, I mean, it's just a big jellyfish. Don't really do anything. Who's next? Mantis Lords are easy. I can't put every boss in fraud, can I? We'll do almost fraud. Almost fraud. Because some of these bosses are a little bit... They're not difficult. They're still so easy. But they do actually hit me. Soul Warrior. He's got two boss fights. Do we have a second boss fight here? No, we've only got his first one. So if we're going off the Soul Warrior's default fight, he's got to be the bottom of almost a fraud. Because again, this is still No deaths. Okay, we're moving into the first boss that I actually died to. The Soul Master actually killed me. However, the difficulty with the Soul Master wasn't that the boss fight was difficult, it's that the path going up to it is filled with annoying enemies. That means by the time I get into the boss fight, I might not be max health, I might not be max soul. I'm already annoyed. My movements are getting a bit bad because I'm already annoyed at the boss before the boss has even appeared. So he goes in pretty easy because he did kill me. But again, like, it's the Soul Master. Ain't nobody saying the Soul Master is a difficult boss. Watcher Knights are gonna go in difficult because I actually hate these guys. Or mild challenge. Because these guys are so annoying. They took me like 5 or 6 tries. And it's because you have to fight 5 of them. Which I always say is bad boss design. If you want a good boss, make it 1 strong enemy. Don't make it 5 weak enemies. That's just like an enemy rush. Right, I do that in the Colosseum. I do that in the Pantheons. Give me a boss fight. I don't want to fight 5 frauds that combined make 1 not a fraud. Right, the Collector. He can go in... I'm going to put him in almost a fraud. In fact, I'll probably put him at the top of almost a fraud. Because I didn't die to him. But... yeah, let me put that one. I didn't die to him. But doing his boss fight, you do take damage because he does spawn random things, and sometimes his jumps hit you. So, like, not a difficult fight. I didn't die, but he hits you. So, right, Dung Defender. I don't really remember the boss fight. I remember it being kind of difficult, so I guess we can put it here. But again, I don't remember dying, so he can stay there. This guy is easy. You can just sort of jump on his head the whole fight. Like, especially in the Pantheon. I've got to put this guy at the bottom. Because you really just jump on his head the whole fight, and you just, like, parry him infinitely. Right, this guy's also easy. What is he called? The Crystal Guardian? On my first try, as in, like, I didn't die, but, like, I found him a little bit challenging. But then when you replay him in, like... When you replay him in... Actually, he should be here, because I took damage. When you replay him in whatever the thing is where you replay them, the Pantheon, it's so easy to do in Radiance. I think I did a Radiance first try. But it's just one of those bosses where the first time you do it, you know, you're still getting used to the attacks, the attack speed, you're getting hit a couple of times. This one is just the same thing, it just does double damage, and I think spawns static attacks. Right, Traitor Lord, I don't remember being hit. I'll put him at the top of Fraud. I don't remember being hit. I want to move Mantis Lords down. I feel a bit weird having Mantis Lords and almost a Fraud. I don't remember being hit. I remember it being a very easy boss fight. So, yeah, it is what it is. Nosk. We died to Nosk a few times. So why does it keep clicking on these? Can it not? Thank you. We died to Nosk a few times. I don't know if it was as many as Watcher Knights. He's another boss where once you learn the strategy of just standing next to the wall in the middle, he's really easy. But it did take a little bit to get there because his movements are a bit erratic. Right, Zoe the Mighty is the biggest fraud because he can't even hit you. I genuinely think it's physically impossible to take damage in the fight because he falls over. He just falls over when he's running towards you. And I think he dies in 1 hit. He's a joke boss fight. Right, he's a joke boss fight. He's the biggest fraud in the whole game. I might make another tier at the bottom just for him. Because, like, Fraud doesn't even cover it. Fraud is being too nice. His second boss fight is also quite easy. I did it first try. I don't remember taking damage, so I'll put it here. Okay, it's one of those ones where it's not very memorable. Um, you just sort of do it. It's he does something compared to the first time you fight him. Who's next? Obalobbles. I hate these guys. I hate these guys because you fight them as a boss in the Colosseum, along with one of the other bosses. So doing them is difficult because of how long it takes to get back to fighting them. And you're not a max health, you're not a max soul, you don't know that you're gonna have to do a boss fight in the middle of the Colosseum. And then in the Pantheon, they're kind of difficult as well. I did them first try, but it's one of those things where you only ever fight them in the Pantheon or in the Colosseum. So it's off the back of going through a long slog of fighting other enemies. So when I fight them, sometimes I die, but that's not because they're a difficult fight, it's because the things leading up to them are a difficult fight, which I think needs to be taken into account. I'll put them at the top of Almost a Fraud, but they're not, like, crazy difficult. I also want to switch these two around, I think. That makes sure be better. God Tamer is the other one you do at the same time. Again, they're going to go at the top just because I beat them first try. It's at the end of the Colosseum. So it was a difficult fight. When I redo it in the Pantheons, it's kind of difficult. But, them on their own is an easy fight. Leading up to it's not easy, so it does look like I struggle with them if you were to watch me do it on stream. But the boss fight itself, Almost a Fraud. Right, Hornet Sentinel is just Hornet, but, like, mildly more difficult. So, it can go, there. Hive Knight is... I don't know how to rank Hive Knight. Hive Knight is in a place where there's no save points anywhere nearby. So every time I get back to Hive Knight, I'm in a bad mood because I've run 2 minutes through an area with mobs that deal crazy damage. I'm not on full health. I'm not on full soul. I died quite a bit. And I really hated it. Not necessarily because of the boss himself, but because of the area getting to the boss. When I came back to the boss later, I didn't first try very easily. I fought him like at the earliest point in time that I could have fought him. If I'd have come back at the end of the game, like I did when I actually beat him, he would be in Fraud. But I'm going to put him in pretty easy because my experience with him is that he did kill me a few times. He is annoying, and he does have a couple annoying attacks that even doing it in the Pantheon are kind of annoying. Which we're going to get with the Broken Vessel, who also killed me. I think they only killed me once. So they can go at the bottom. Nothing crazy. I did die, I think. The Hollow Knight. Now, when we look at the fraud tier list, it's not just did you beat them first try. It's are they a fraud? The Hollow Knight, I'm going to put him up here just so we can look at him, is the final boss of the game. He's the final boss of the game. Keep that in mind. Final boss of the game. Now we look at the Hollow Knight as the final boss of the game. He's a fraud. Because he is so easy to do first try. He's so easy to do no damage. He's a fraud. In fact, he's the biggest fraud in the game. Because at least Zoe the Mighty, he brags about being, oh, I'm so strong, I'm so powerful, and then he's weak. This guy has an aura about him. You go through the whole game, there's statues of him, there's stories of him. He was locked away. Three powerful creatures in the game locked him away. And you walk over him. It's not even a challenge. He starts killing himself halfway through the boss fight because he knows that he's no match for you. He is the biggest fraud I think I've seen in video game boss history. I don't think I've seen a boss that's a bigger fraud. Yeah. Hollow Knight, fraud of all frauds. He's got no excuse. I might make a new tier list for him. A new tier. Right, Grim Master Group is the Grim Master. What? Group Master Grim is the only difficult boss in the game. He's the only difficult boss in the game. However, when you beat him once, you can beat him every time, no damage. Learning his attacks is difficult because sometimes it's hard to gauge what they are. They're kind of fast. I struggled on him for a little bit, but once you know what he does, he's very easy. And for that reason, Nightmare King Grim is going in fraud tier list. Nightmare King Grim is supposed to be one of the strongest bosses in the entire game. Okay, when you fight him, the screen goes black, his name comes up in big red letters on the screen, his music kicks in, it's insane. It's just the same fight. In fact, he's got some attacks that are easier than Grim's attacks. It's actually easier to beat him than it is with normal Grim. It's what did I say? When you learn Grim's attacks, he becomes a no difficulty boss. The second boss is the same, but some of his attacks are just even easier. He's a fraud. He's got no right. Yes, his boss fight music is top 3 in the game. Yes, his design is really good. Yes, the arena is kind of mid, but his introduction when he spawns in is kind of cool. He's a fraud. Do I remember Oromato? They were kind of difficult. They're gonna... Right, let's get these two, because they are gonna go in mild challenge. Again, they're at the end of a pantheon, which we need to take into consideration with some of the other bosses that come after groups of enemies, because the pantheons themselves make it more difficult. You go into Oromato not knowing that you're going to get a new boss fight you've not seen before after you've just done a boss rush. Yes, the boss fight is easy, but you don't know the boss's attacks, and this one's more difficult than Shio. Shio's going to go in pretty easy. I'll put him above or below the Hive Knight. The Hive Knight's difficulty came from how annoying it is to fight him, so we'll put Shio above. But also, she's still pretty easy. Right, Marmu is again an easy 0 difficulty. Marmu is just like the Moss Charger. They're like exactly the same thing. You just keep smacking them, and they don't do anything. So, which is the one that spawns? This is the one that spawns the things that come down from the ceiling, which is easy to dodge. I'll put it here. Right, Gorb, I always say is really easy, because he is really easy. I'm going to put him almost a fraud, because I'll put him there. He's really easy in his attacks, but sometimes they can be a bit overwhelming. I mean, it's not death worthy, but his name is Gorb. What do you want me to do with a guy whose name's Gorb? He's not going up any higher. 0 spawns swords next to him, right? And they shoot down at you. Again, is easy. I think it's a bit more difficult than some of these bosses, if I remember correctly. But it's also quite easy. I'll probably put him... I'll put him next to Gorb, just because it's basically the same thing. They just sort of spawn swords and shoot. I'm making a new tier. Add very below. No. What should I call it? I'm just gonna write insane frauds, because like these guys are just like, what are they doing? Like, why are they even bosses in my game? Why are these guys even bosses? Why? They're just so fraudulent. Right, this boss is... It's like here, I guess. I don't know. They're not. They're frauds. I think they're like. Let's just bring them both up. This one is more difficult. I sort of remember them being kind of the same. I think this guy's easier, but more difficult than the Collector. This guy's probably more difficult than... Get Obble Obbles down, because that is outrageous that they're up here. Right, you're a fraud because you were first try. You're a fraud because you were first try. You were first try. I don't know where to put these guys. I'm going to put them in fraud. Just for this, because... what difficulty were they? Probably like this, right? If the Soul Tyrant was harder than... If this guy was harder than this guy's harder than this guy. These guys are all frauds because they're not more difficult than the first boss fights. You fight them again and they're like the same difficulty. I will put them above... I'll put them at the top of fraud, just because, like, they are more difficult. But they're still frauds. They're still frauds. They're more difficult than these bosses, but you just do them first try. Right, the White Defender I remember killed me. I remember this guy killed me, like, once. I think. So he's there. There you go. There you have it. Okay, that's the difficulty one. But I was thinking I was thinking of doing another one where I rank them on other things, like design or music. And I think I still want to do that.